Let's take a look at Photoshop number 5, the assignment about filters. Here's how this one works. Let's see. Let's go to the handout first. There'll be a handout posted on Google Classroom that kind of leads you through it a little bit. Once again, kind of like the gradient assignment, I'm going to ask for 5. We're just kind of making some backgrounds. So I'm going to ask for 5 different ones. I want some variety here, so you work on that, and no 2 backgrounds just alike. And every one of these has to use a filter, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You got a couple of options about how you get started. You can make these from new Photoshop documents. You can just start from scratch if you wish. I'll show you both. The other thing you could do is you could open something that you made. You could open one of the gradient files that came from the previous assignment. If you have that all done, you could open one of those and then put a filter on it and then save it with a new name, and that would work as well. And I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. So whichever way you do it, you're going to have something on your background. You'll have to paint it or put a gradient on it or do something. And then you start playing with filters, and you can combine filters, and gosh, there's a million possibilities. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do this in this demo or in this video. When you save them, you'll go Save As and make sure you're in your Documents folder or wherever you're going to save them, the Creative Cloud files or Documents folder or whatever location you want. And I would recommend numbering them so that you know where you are. Filter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to make 5 of them. So numbering them, I think, is a good idea. And then you'd have to turn all of those in on Google Classroom when they're all done. You got to turn them in. All right, so let's get over here to Photoshop and take a look at how this one works. I'm going to start off with a brand new document. So I'll do Create New. I'll go to Web. I'll go to Large. I'll turn off the artboard, and I'll click Create. Now it's got to have something on it, and you could use a paintbrush to get something on it, or you could put a gradient on it. We learned how to do gradients in the previous lesson, so you could put a gradient on it. That's really kind of up to you, but it's got to have something. I think maybe what I'll do in this case, this will be a pretty quick thing. I'm going to make I'm going to use some different pastel colors, and I'm just taking the paintbrush here. You can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just taking the paintbrush here, and I'm using this swatch set of pastels and just kind of making some bands of color that go across this document, kind of like that. You just got to have something on there. If you do a filter on a plain white document, you're not going to really get a result at all. All right, so you got to have, excuse me, you got to have something. All right, now it's time for filters. Well, let's go. Filters are all going to be found up here, I'll try to use the right word. They're all going to be found up here on the filter menu. Just checking something real quick. Yeah, okay, we're good. They're going to be found up here on the filter menu. Let me get that out of the way. Filter menu, and then there is no way that I can show you everything that's available on the filter menu. There's a ton of stuff, and what you're going to have to do is jump in and dig. You're going to have to explore and see what you like, and anything that you can do can be Control-Z undone. So if you try something you don't like it, try something else. I am going to show you a couple of things, okay? For example, if I start off here, I'm going to go to, these are like categories of filters right here, so I'm going to go to the Distort category, and then there's a bunch of them here, but I'm going to go to Twirl. I'll just try that out. I'll try Twirl. Let's see what it does, right? So I'll click on Twirl, and I get a dialog box here. Twirl works with an angle, and I can adjust the angle either way. I can drag this to the left or to the right. It's going to have to do with the amount of twirl. If you look at this little preview box right here, you're getting kind of an idea of what is coming up here. All right, so if I click OK, shwaboom, and that's what that filter did to my little thing that I had, right? Look what it did. I don't think that's a big surprise. It twirled it. All right. So this is another one of those times, kind of like with the gradients, that if you're looking at it and you think, oh gosh, I love it, I love it, I love it, then you should save it and move on to your next. I want you to do 5 of them, and I'm not going to be picky about it. You're the one who has to decide, oh yes, I like it. So if I say, yes, I like this, I would go up here to File, and I would go to Save As, and I would save on my computer. And I'm in my Documents folder. Well, I want to get to my Documents folder. I don't think I'm there. Documents folder, and I would just call this Filter 1. Boom. Got it. Okay. Now I want to show you another way that you could do this if you want to, if you feel like this would help you at all. I could go up here to click File and click Open, not New, but Open. And if I go look, I'm looking at my list of documents here, and this is my Documents folder. And I'm finding right here gradient 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, those are from yesterday's assignment. That's what those are. So maybe I'll take this like gradient 4 here and I'll open it. And gradient 4 was this one here that had all of those rainbow circles on it that I did with the gradient tool. So you see the trick here. Instead of painting something onto the document, I opened one I made yesterday or in the previous assignment. Okay. Well, that's fine. You could do that. And now it's time to play with a filter. So I come up here and I go to filter and then I start exploring, right? I might go to, gosh, what do you want to do? You want to go to style? Let's do this. Let's go to stylize and I'm going to go to extrude. All right. Stylize and extrude. Extrude works with either blocks or pyramids. You could choose either one. I'll just do pyramids for kicks and giggles. You can play with the size and the depth of it as you wish. I don't think I'm even going to change that. You could, if you wanted to. You could play with any settings that are here. Blocks, pyramid, size, depth, random, level, based, whatever. And I'll click OK. Ooh, look what that did. Looks like these pyramid things are kind of sticking up off of the page right at you. And kind of exploding out from the center. They're pointing out different directions. All right, so yay, there's that. Got that done. And I think that one's pretty cool. I think that's kind of a cool looking background. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to go Save As, and I'm going to do on my computer. I'm on my Documents folder. This is going to be filter number 2. I'm going to change the name of it. It was a gradient that I made yesterday, but I'm going to change the name of it. So I'll call it filter number 2, and let's move on. I want to show you another idea. This time I think I'll just click File and click New and click Web and Large, and I'm going to turn off the artboard and click Create. And I'm going to get, maybe what I'll do just to make this go kind of quick, not shape, I want my gradient tool. Boom. All right, now I'll go find a gradient that I feel like I like. I'm going to use this gradient panel up here on the right-hand side, and I'll do kind of like a, what do I got, radial set? That sounds pretty good. Boom. All right, so we'll do something like that. All right, you just need something to work with. You got to paint it, put a gradient on it. If you do it, like I said before, if you do a filter on a plain white document, you're not going to get a result. So you need something on there. All right, so now here's the idea I want to show you this time. I'm going to go to the filter menu, and I'm going to start off with, I don't know what. Let's go stylize and tiles. Boom. And again, the number of tiles, you could play with that. The number of tiles, the offset, the background, all of these things. You could set it on whatever you want, right? Whatever you want. And if you do something and you don't like it, then undo it. Control-Z, undo, and try something different. But I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And so that's what the tiles thing did there. It kind of made it look like it's tiled on there a bit. And so that's what we've got. Okay. Now, here's the idea I want to show you this time. You don't have to stop with one filter on each image. You could combine filters, right? I could come here now and maybe go filter, and maybe I'll go blur, and maybe I'll go, I don't know, let's do a Gaussian blur, and let's blur it up here. And you're going to get a preview on a lot of these. Ooh, maybe not quite that much. I'll just blur it up so we can still see what was there before. All right, so I went to filter and blur and Gaussian blur, and I'm playing with this radius setting here and just kind of looking at what it's giving me. And if I think, ooh, yeah, it looks cool, then I click OK. And so my whole point is, and I don't know if you love that or not, but my whole point is you don't have to stop at one filter on a document if you don't want to, right? I did a combination of 2 filters there, and you could keep going and do a combination of 3 or 4 or whatever. But I'm going to say File, Save As on my computer, and this is going to be filter, Filter 3. All right, I'm trying to move quick here, so I'm going to make another new document, I think. I'll do new, and I'll do web, and I'll do large, and I'll turn off the artboard, and boom. All right, and this time I'll just pick, I'm just going to use a gradient here so that I can kind of get this done fairly quickly. Boom. Sound effects help. All right, so I have filled this document with a gradient. The thing that I want to show you this time is this thing called, if you go to filter, and there's this thing called filter gallery. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on filter gallery here. And here's how filter gallery works. Over here on the right hand side, there are folders that have different effects that you can choose. And you can open those folders if you hit the little if you hit the little triangle that's next to the folder, it will drop it down and kind of open that folder up and show you what's in there. So if I, like for example, if I open up the texture folder, I see crackulature and grain and mosaic tiles, and ooh, I'm going to try stained glass. Look at that. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of a cool effect. So I just added a stained glass effect to this document that I had. And if I look over here on the right hand side, cell size and border thickness, all of these things would have some different kinds of effects, and I can combine them too. If I came along here and said you need torn edges, see, I don't like the torn edges, so I'm going to go back to the stained glass. I don't like the way that turned out, and I think let me just see if I go brush strokes, something like that, and go sprayed sort. Nah, yeah, I'm going to go back to. I was thinking it might kind of combine them and pile them up, but it's not. There's probably a way to do that. Yeah, you can add a new effect layer, and then I can go like boom. So now I've got down here at the bottom. Yeah, so how I did that was I hit that plus sign down here, add a new effect layer, and so now I've got this bas relief and stained glass together. That's two effects on the same document, right? And there's also a trash can down here if I think, oh, no, it didn't work out. I could delete any of those. Or look, there's the eyeball. I could turn them off. So anyway, what I could do now is, if I look up here, if I'm thinking this isn't turning out, I can cancel it. Look up at the top right. There's a cancel option. There's a cancel button. Or if I think, ooh, this is so cool, I could just click OK, and then it applies that effect to what I had. And the gradient kind of got blown up a little bit, but it still looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. Do you think it looks pretty cool? I think it looks pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to go File and Save As, and on my computer, and this is going to be Filter 4. And I do have one more thing I got to show you. So I'll just make a new document here. Web, large, turn off the artboard, create. Okay, and again, I'm just going to jump in here and grab, I'm just using my gradient panel over here and grabbing some kind of gradient too. I think I'll make this radial, and I'll go, it's like a orange, yellow, orange kind of thing. Okay, I want you to see, if I go to the filter menu, I'm not telling you that you have to do this. You don't have to, but you might kind of have fun with it. I don't know. There's a filter called Liquify. Okay, I'm showing it to you right now. The filter called Liquify, and I'm going to click on that. And you get a separate screen that opens up here, and I'm going to grab a graphic tablet here because I think it's kind of fun to play with the graphic tablet now. I've been using a mouse this whole time, switching to a graphic tablet. There are buttons over here on the side that will do different kinds of things with your Liquify, but I'm just going to show this top button right here, which is called a forward warp. And so I'm going to just keep that top button right there. And what it does, it kind of makes it like the paint is, well, like it says, it's liquid. And I'm just going to kind of, you can swish on it like over and over. Look, I'm liquefying, I'm zhoosh, zhoosh. And I could go zhoosh, zhoosh. And if you just keep playing with it, and you can make this brush bigger if you wanted to, right? You can change you can adjust the size of the brush just like you can with any paintbrush. All right. So you see the kind of thing I'm doing with this Liquify folder, or this Liquify filter here. It's like the paint is liquid, and I can just kind of push it around however and wherever and whenever I want. Oh, look at that. I think it's, I don't know, I'm a nerd, but I think it's kind of cool. Look, I kind of like the orange. It looks like a sun, a flame or something.
Hi, staff and students.
Look at that.
Please pardon this interruption.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK.
We have our first fire drill of the year. During the fire drill, when the alarm sounds.
And when you click OK on that Liquify dialog box that I was working on, then that Liquify filter gets applied to the document that you've got here. And see, I think that looks pretty cool. Well, and it's like I said, now I'm not even limited. I've liquefied it. I could come back here if I wanted to and go filter, blur, like motion blur, something like that if I wanted to, and boom. And so now I've combined them. Cool. So, yeah, honestly here, that didn't seem like much of a break, but I got interrupted by a fire drill, which you probably heard on the video. But, yeah, I think we're pretty much wrapped up here. I would have to save this. Oh, I combined filters. That's what I did. I did the Liquify, and then I did the blur, so it was another combination filter. So I could come along here and say save as, and on my computer in filter 5. And yay, look, I did it. I have 5 different ones. And so that's the kind of thing I want you to do. I want you to create something that's got filters on it. And you're the one who decides what looks good, right? So get in there and have at it and try to make 5 of them and save them and turn them in. All right, let's go.